I'd like to call to order the May 28th meeting of the Clive City Council. Would the clerk please call roll?
Mayor Edwards,
Here.
council members Weaver. Here. Judkins,
Here.
Klein,
Here.
Hawker,
Here.
Gasparotto.
Here.
Very good. Would you all rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next up, we have the agenda. I'm not aware of any changes.
For approval.
Second.
Motion second to approve the agenda. Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The agenda is approved. Next up, we have our citizens presentation. This is the opportunity for anyone to address the council on an item that is not on the agenda. I see no one in the chambers. Do we have anyone online, Pete?
For those online who would like to participate, you can get our attention by using the raise hand function on your Zoom screen. At the bottom there, you will see the heart that says react, and within that, you will be able to select raise hand. Your Honor, I do not see hands going up.
Thank you very much, Pete. But just a reminder, we do follow the pillars of character counts. Next up, we have consent.
For approval.
Second.
Motion second on consent. Further discussion? Seeing none, will the council please vote? And will the clerk please post that vote? And that passes by a vote of 5-0. Next up, we have the potential second consideration of proposed ordinance 1178. Chief.
Mayor and council, thank you. In your packet, you have a redlined version from what I sent out prior to the last meeting. That has, you will not be surprised, changed again. There are some other additions on here. Pete and I met with the Des Moines Street Collective and Bike Iowa. We got some input from them on the ordinance and the language that we're using, and they gave us some good suggestions. We're going to incorporate some of what they have. So that's going to require me to make those additional changes. I haven't gotten them all in there yet because we had the short week. So because of that and because of the changes, I'm proposing that you just table the second reading for now, so that we can bring this back at the June 11th meeting. We could do a second reading at that time, or if you prefer, we could do a first reading if you feel that there were too many changes that were made. I will tell you that not a whole lot of the substance of the ordinance is going to be much different. It's cleaned up a little bit. We had some definitions that needed to be put in the right place, just alphabetically. There's going to be some additions as far as equipment that needs to be added on for like a class 3 bicycle, speedometers and the like. There's some age restrictions that go with that. So I wanted to make sure we included that language. Also included a definition of e-motos. Over the last 8 days, we have had 3 accidents involving these devices in Clive. All 3 of them have resulted with pretty serious injuries, broken bones on all of them, a 13-year-old, an 18-year-old, and a 32-year-old. And the 32-year-old, to the point of why we need to have some smart enforceable regulation with this. This individual was riding up 86th Street at about 10:30 in the morning, probably doing about 30 or 40 miles an hour on his scooter. It is a 6,000 watt scooter. So well above the 750 watt average or 750 watt limit that kind of differentiates those things. That we're treating that as a motor vehicle, and there are going to be charges filed against that person because he ended up running some red lights and crashing into a car. But to my bigger point, that's why we need to make these changes and these additions. I would also point out that we are not restricting bicycles in any way. Bicycles can go on the streets, they can go on the sidewalks, they can be on any road in Clive with the exception of the interstate. As long as they're following the rules, they're perfectly legal to be there. So I know that was something that was brought up with the Bike Collective and with the Bike Coalition. So yes, recommending that you table this for now. We'll bring it back at the June 11th meeting, and I would take any questions that you have.
Questions for the chief? Otherwise, we need a motion to table
Make a motion to table ordinance 1170 for future consideration.
to the June 11th meeting.
Second.
Correct.
Further discussion? Seeing none, will the council please vote? And will the clerk please post that vote?
Hot mess tonight. It's just,
And that passes by a vote of 5-0. Thank you, Chief. We'll consider that at our June 11th meeting. Doug, flood mitigation.
This is the first time we've used this. It may not be on. Pete's coming down.
oh, yeah, look at that. Something new.
Yeah.
Working pretty good, actually.
This is my OCD. Thank you. This has been a little bit of an effort over the last 3 years, as you're well aware. We made this application, technically speaking, in 2002. Went through some iterations, resubmitted it in 2003. And again, just a month ago, finally got notified that we have been successful in our patience of working through the FEMA process. So at this particular point, the city has been awarded a little over $14 million for the acquisition of 3 commercial properties in the flood buyout area. Once the subaward agreement is approved by the city council, we'll begin the negotiations with the property owners in terms of the exit strategy from the property. The purchase prices are pretty well already identified in the application through the appraisal process. But exactly when they want to close, how they want to unwind their occupancy on the properties, those types of details still need to be worked out. Also, these are pretty significant demolition efforts that are going to be necessary. And one of the unique caveats that FEMA applies to these types of grants is, doesn't matter what type of demolition project it is, the building has to be demolished within 90 days of acquisition. So one particular property there is going to be a little challenging to get that done, but with some advanced planning, a little bit of due diligence and coordination, we think we'll be pretty close to being able to meet that requirement. Otherwise, the funding agreement is pretty standard to the ones that we approved or you folks have approved in the past. There aren't any kind of unique add-ons with this one. The one add-on that is to our benefit is this particular grant does come with no required local match. Typically, we have 15% required local match. Obviously, that's a pretty substantial amount of money that we're not having to bring to the table here.
Doug, I thought I saw in here a 1.1 million match from the city or the local entity. Was I reading it wrong, or what was that pertaining to?
That's probably one of the other grants that we've got in the queue. And I'll touch base on that here just in a minute, but this particular version for these particular properties comes with no required match. The other nice thing that we've been leveraging with all of our grants here more recently is taking advantage of the administrative costs that are also reimbursable to the city. So our time spent in administering the actual grant itself, we're able to request reimbursements for, and in this case, it could be $100,000 or so as we get these projects completed. So this particular moment, we are super excited. I know the property owners are relieved to finally have this kind of definitive action taken. So at this point, we'd be recommending approval of the subaward agreement, the administrative plan, and then we'd be back before you down the road once we have purchase agreements and specifications put together for the demolition. Be happy to answer any other questions you might have.
Eric?
One more question, Doug. First of all, congratulations. This has been a long road and this is as we've discussed several times, this is a big lift right here. So congratulations to you and your team for pulling this off. I know it's a quick turnaround on this, but is there an opportunity for Clive PD or Clive Fire to utilize the buildings for training opportunities before they're torn down?
Yeah, we have those conversations on any of the properties. We've got a gentleman's agreement that we try to give them an opportunity to get some training in where we can. I know they very much would like at least one of the buildings to have a chance to, I think, run some kind of armored vehicle or something through it. I didn't get all the details, but it's big enough that apparently
Can I come and watch?
there's an opportunity for some interesting training. So we'll see if we can put those things together. It does become a little bit challenging for these big demolitions because 90 days is not a whole lot of time to
It's true.
have a chance to mess around with them and then get them done. So we'll see. We'll see if we can work something out. If the property owners decide they want to, again, unwind the business operations and maybe there's a little bit of time before we actually close, those kinds of things. We'll be trying to work out some arrangements to give them an opportunity.
Other questions? Otherwise, we need the resolution.
Move a resolution approving the 2023 Flood Mitigation Assistance Subboard Agreement and Administrative Plan.
Second.
Motion second on the resolution. Further discussion? Seeing none, will the council please vote? And will the clerk please post that vote? And that passes by a vote of 5-0. Now the demo.
Yes, and just one quick item. I did want to also, on the hazard mitigation, just wanted to give you a quick summary. Although this is a great win for the city, we still have just about $7 million of applications that are still needing to be approved by FEMA. These have been reviewed by the state and have been submitted to FEMA for funding. But because of all the issues around the operations within FEMA, we still haven't been awarded these funds. But we still have, like I say, a little under $7 million that we're hopeful that we'll be able to receive. Hopefully it won't take 3 years. These are only 15 months old. So we'll see if we can get a few more of these across the finish line. There are a couple of acquisitions, 2 more commercial properties in the mix. This batch also includes funding for the relocation of the pump station that we've previously talked about, and also includes a few other planning related grants that allow us to dig deeper into some of the flood mitigation opportunities. And then I just highlight that FEMA did establish a current BRIC program application, and we are working on the development for an application there. The state has been interested in our proposal, which would be to evaluate a little further now that we have this potential opportunity of seeing the railroad removed. We want to take a little deeper look at what the opportunities are for the actual removal of the bridge across Walnut Creek, which we know is creating some of the flooding conditions. Again, it doesn't solve flooding for the University Boulevard, but we do think that there might be an opportunity to potentially obtain some funding that could theoretically cover the cost of removal of that bridge, which would be an improvement.
Does that have any connection or correlation to the railroad abandonment?
That is why we are making this request.
Okay.
We've done some initial preliminary work to understand what the bridge is doing to flooding, but it was so prohibitively expensive to build a new bridge.
Mm-hmm.
And the likelihood of working out that deal with the railroad was something we just said, that's really not an appropriate flood mitigation option for the neighborhood. But because of the current situation with their filing for abandonment.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted to go back and dig a little deeper.
Okay, thank you.
Your Honor, I'd also note what you see there in, a lot of what you see there in green and a couple other wins as a primary talking point for our upcoming trip to DC. Our delegation did help us out bird dogging these dollars, and we appreciate their help very much. The next ask, sort of continuation of where we were last year, was let's keep working on this just shy of $7 million that is in the midst of the FEMA review. We'll also update everybody with Doug's initial map showing sort of what is the status of the flood-prone property buyout program, because our delegation has heard from us consistently for at least the last 8 years how important this is, and they've been very, very responsive and understand that this is the best path forward.
Thank you, Pete. Any other questions for Doug on this before we talk demolition?
Okay, as you're well aware, we obtained or purchased the Bruce Engine property at 1829 86th Street about 2 months ago now. We've been in the process of getting everything kind of cleaned up, removing asbestos. We're now at a point where we're ready to move forward with the actual demolition of the building and associated site improvements. We did put out a request for competitive quotations for the demolition project. We've received 5 bids. We're very happy with obviously the low bid that was received. It is a relatively new company in the metro, which is why the bids were so low. They're simply buying work, which is great for us. And I say that because the principals associated with this new business have been in the demolition business for 25 years. So in this particular case, we'll accept the fact that they are a new business, but they certainly have the capability and the wherewithal to get this completed on time, on schedule. So at
Doug,
this
real
point,
quick, did they give you references?
I mean, we've worked directly with them in their previous businesses. So we are very comfortable with them.
That's my question. Is staff comfortable? Look, I'd love to see bids like this come in very, very low, but there's certainly a large disparity between the top and the bottom. I just want to make sure staff is comfortable with this company and the job that they'll do, and that we're getting they understand the scope of the request on this.
Yes, we're very comfortable. Again, we feel that they have the skills, they have the capabilities, they certainly have the time in this moment to be able to get the job done.
Great.
And frankly, at the price point that they're at, even if there's a little bit of headache, we're still substantially ahead of where we expected to be. Yeah.
Right.
So with that, we would recommend award of the contract to Capital Demolition Environmental Services in the amount of $31,625.26.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is second on the resolution. Further discussion? Seeing none, will the council please vote? And will the clerk please post that vote? That passes by a vote of 5-0. Thank you, Doug. Good luck. Is there any correspondence we need to be aware of?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. We'll go to reports, and Pete.
Thank you, Your Honor. So looking forward to the DC trip with many of you next week. If you have any questions about logistics, materials beforehand, go ahead and you can email it to me and I can help you connect with the right people at the partnership. But we're expecting a very positive trip out in Washington. Hopefully some good weather for us when we get out there too, not too hot. This has been a busy week for Central Iowa Waterworks. Mayor, if you'd like, I can cover some of that now.
Please do.
Okay. So the big news was we have entered into a voluntary lawn watering reduction phase. This is phase 2 of the water use plan that has been improved substantially by Central Iowa Waterworks over the last 12 months as a result of what happened last summer. Some of those improvements in the water use plan have to do with procedures. At the last CIWW board meeting, there were some changes made and approved by the board that will now come to all of you that are actual changes to the 28E agreement. But Mayor and Matt have all reviewed those, and they are very much just procedural, not substantive when it comes to how we handle the assets or what we get from Central Iowa Waterworks. So these all seem like just very good steps. On the water use plan, at this phase, it is again voluntary and it's very focused on outdoor water use, specifically lawn watering. But the CIWW is encouraging all people to bring a real conservation ethic or mindset to this, so we don't get into a mandatory ban. If we do make the step into a mandatory ban, we'll be ready immediately to explain to all of you what that entails. Much different than last year. For your knowledge, one thing to be sensitive to when all this is sort of the optics of how the city is using water. That created a lot of questions last year. The water use plan has cleared that up, really has left it in the discretion of the individual cities to make choices about how they operate things like splash pads, how they water and sod and new plantings and trees. Credit to our parks team and our public works teams, really the entire team, because not only did we get the information out to all of the utility users here in Clive, the water customers, about what they can do, what we need them to do now, we also then put into action steps the city's going to take right now. So we're walking back some of the irrigation on the ball fields at Campbell, knowing that we have to continue watering in some of the new plantings here at Greenbelt Landing, or else we risk losing all that new sod that has gone down. We'll continue to watch for sort of the optics and any negative reactions or questions that people are asking, especially in the social media spaces or online. We've got all the news stories up on our website, on social media. We used Greenie. We were able to use the new Axio system to power out an email to all of the customers. And starting next week, we'll start to contact folks who are still watering, just to make sure they know that there are some steps they can take now to cut back to hopefully prevent us getting into a position where we're in a ban. So it'll be a busy storytelling period for the city.
Very good. Anything else, Pete?
No, Your Honor.
Any questions for Pete? All right, Sadie,
No report tonight.
Ted?
MPO policy, we met recently. We had the Iowa DOT District 1 engineer come in and speak to us and give us a nice overview of all. There's a lot of major projects going on around the metro with the DOT, as many of you I'm sure know. Obviously, the two that impact us are the Hickman interchange, but there was really nothing new there that we didn't know about. And then the Southwest Mixmaster, which will include University Avenue exit, as well as the on-ramp and off-ramp to 235 and 80 West. She did have a date starting in 2026, which concerned me a little. But when I asked her about it, she said they're letting this year, and that it's possible we may see some piers go up for the flyovers in the median area. So nothing that will impact traffic. And I got her to say very publicly and on the record that nothing that will impact traffic will happen at the Southwest Mixmaster until Hickman is done. So we shall see. But that, that actually could start as early as this year.
All right.
So that's all I have.
Your Honor, what I would also add to that for that report from the DOT is because of where they're advancing the Southwest Mixmaster, that is also consolidating some of the phase work that they're going to do on Hickman next year. So therefore, for the majority, what we're hearing today is for a majority of the construction season next year, Hickman will be closed east-west under the interstate.
For the
But that's
majority of the
partially
season?
because, yes.
Okay.
So partially because of how they're consolidating the phasing to get the work done before they start moving on that. So that actually compressed some timeframes of making sure that they can complete the Hickman work in the 2027 construction season next year.
Okay. And she did mention that they do work closely with our staff and that she was very complimentary of our staff. So appreciate that.
Anything else, Ted?
That's it.
Eric?
Yeah, I had a chance, as we discussed, to meet with all of the candidates for Dallas County Supervisor, including Oliver Bardwell, Dave Rozak, and Julie Batista. Had just a chance to do some informal discussions regarding suggestions on moving Dallas County forward in more of a greater partnership with the metro area and some other things that we do here in Clive that has been very successful for us. So we'll see what happens moving forward with that election. That primary is June 2nd and the general is in November. That's all you're on.
Thank you. Very good. Thank you very much. Susan.
Sorry, I couldn't get my microphone on. I wanted to report that the Finance Committee for Bravo met last week and we're making plans to adjust the budget, given that we are having the communities of Altoona and Norwalk no longer participating. And kind of putting together a plan for informing various entities that have been receiving funds to understand how it's going to work. It's interesting, the budget proposal looks pretty status quo, kind of flat. And that's because there are projected increases to hotel motel tax, just offset by that reduction. And there are adjustments being made to the buckets that those dollars go into, with a little bit of increase to art and some decreases in other areas. There was also conversation about how some funding that the city of Des Moines has been providing directly to the zoo is now going to flow through Bravo. And we don't want that to obscure the overall reduction in funds. So some good conversation about how to make that as transparent as possible. So I reminded the committee that this is indicative of the kinds of conversations that are happening across all communities as a result of changes to the property tax system also. And I think they appreciated that. I'm looking forward to the trip to DC, planning to participate in that. And just on a personal note, thank you to everyone for supporting me during a difficult time with my mother. A decision was made today to transition her to hospice. So I'm here in her room right now, but expect to be back in Clive by Monday.
Thank you, Susan. Bree,
I have nothing to report.
thank you. Anything legal?
No, Your Honor.
Matt?
Your Honor, just a couple of updates. As Councilmember Klein mentioned, we have the June 2nd primary coming up on Tuesday. We'll have a couple of Clive facilities and voting locations. We'll be using the pavilion, the new pavilion for the first time, Creekside Pavilion across the street as a voting location. Harbach Center will also be a location, but we'll have a little bit of inconvenience just with some street closures that we have just west of the facility, but there'll be signage and that facility will be used again as a voting location. So excited to kind of see particularly the pavilion now being used for that space once again, as we were using this facility during the construction period. Also wanted to note that you probably saw there was a lot of activity here at the facility because now everybody has moved back into City Hall in the lower level. The Administrative Services Department and the Clive Chamber have moved back in, and Community Development moved back in last week. So we have everybody downstairs getting used to our new environment and a lot of little odds and ends that we'll probably have to address. We're continuing to work on the parking lot. The north 2/3 have been completed, just need to be striped. And then now they'll transition over to the south third to do the sidewalks, repairing the sidewalks and then doing the overlay. And we have a few odds and ends around the front of City Hall entrance with the new bollards to get installed, protective bollards yet too. But it's all coming together here slowly but surely. Happy to have everybody back in the facility. And we're receiving folks in the new lobby already this morning. So great to see that. Last thing that I have, and I'm going to ask Chief Rayberg to come up again, talk a little bit about some good news that we've heard recently related to the crisis intervention team funding from the state of Iowa through Iowa Primary Care Association, and what that could present as an opportunity for us as we think about that team going forward. So I'll give the chief an opportunity to talk a little bit about that.
Thank you, Matt. I will try to be brief. We did get some good news from Iowa Primary Care. As you know, they give us the funding to keep this team in place. We had $120,000 for FY 26 and drawdowns every year after that. So FY 27, we were looking at $90,000. Iowa Primary Care got a hold of me on Tuesday, and they want to boost that funding back up to the $120,000 mark for FY 27. I think there's a very good possibility that that will continue through the rest of our contract through 2031 and potentially even longer than that. I'm waiting for an agreement, an amendment to the original agreement that we had to come in and see what the exact language is. But because of that gives us a lot of the backfill that we were missing to keep this program going. Along with that, we are making a little bit of a change to our staffing plan at the PD on the administrative side. We're going from 3 full-time admin staff down to 2. And with that gives us a savings with that salary and the benefits. So with the additional funding coming in from Iowa Primary Care and the savings that we have, it gives us an opportunity to take advantage of the potential of bringing that program in-house. I think I've spoken with everybody, and I think you all know how I feel about the crisis intervention team, and the control that we would get over that team by having it in-house, I think is the step forward with it. This gives us the opportunity to explore that and see where it can go and how we can build on it from there. Matt and I have already had some discussions on this, and we've got a plan. I guess if there is interest in moving forward on something like that from the council, that's something we could present at a future council meeting. I don't know what the program looks like after July 1. I suspect that our mental health practitioner, Sarah, is probably not going to be here. I know their funding source is a little bit different from what we have, and I don't know that she will be around then. So we lose that side of it, but we still have our crisis intervention officer. That's why I think now is the time that we will have the funds available. I think now is the time to take advantage of that, bring it in-house, see what it looks like, and see what we can do and keep building this program. Again, it's one of my favorite programs in 31 years of being a cop. I've never seen a benefit from a program that we have seen with this. So I think we need to strike while the iron's hot, but I would like to know what everybody's opinion is and if this is a program we want to move forward on. And I guess I would defer to Matt too for his comments.
Yeah, I'll add to the chief's comments. We've been talking about this all the way back at the council will recall the budget workshops back in February, that if we were able to solidify and increase the state funding, that this could present an opportunity, and the chief coming up with the kind of creative approach of seeing an opportunity of how can we reallocate resources within the department and still see savings for the city in the long run of reallocating some resources and being able to bring the mental health professional into our team. We also, as we've been talking about this program, of if we're able to bring it in-house fully under the city's control, it would go beyond the police department in terms of things that we could do. The team has already started to work with the fire department on a number of things, but I know the Chief Rayberg and Chief Garcia have also discussed how we could expand that in the fire department. And I also see benefits in other city departments in terms of the folks that are being served by those departments, in terms of that mental health professional being a resource to them, which I think would be kind of an add-on benefit of having now this additional state funding opportunity that would be brought to bear. So it's definitely something. Sarah has been a great resource for us and somebody we're interested. I think from the staff's perspective, what you're hearing from us is a resource that we want to continue to tap into and bring as a part of the Clive team. And then also see another thing that the chief and I have talked about is how can this resource that we're providing also be a benefit to some of our neighboring communities that are having transitions with these teams, maybe going away from these teams, or neighboring communities that don't have these teams, is how could this also be an asset that we could leverage with some of our neighbors in terms of also recouping some of the investment as well. So we see a lot of win-wins here, but we wanted to tease this with the council right now, and would love to in June bring back the formal proposal to basically approve a new job description and start this transition. We're going to have the the admin, a staff person transition happening in July. So we're kind of at a good timing point. So we wanted to bring it up with you tonight just to get your initial reactions, any concerns or things that we need to modify to bring back for formal approval here in the next few weeks.
Thumbs up.
Just like to see the financial impact.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, well, we've already kind of started to pen that out. Actually, the chief's already been working on a memo that shows a lot of that. And now that we were waiting on this first piece of the solidifying the state funding and not having that $30,000 drop every year because it was eventually going to go all the way down to zero.
Mhm.
A huge opportunity. And I think it's a credit to what the chief and the CIT team have done to really show the Iowa primary care folks the benefits that our program, and you've heard it from, I know we've shared comments from residents and folks that have had interactions with that team and the benefits of that team. I think they're also seeing the benefits of it, and we're really able to show that to them and the data that goes along with it. That's, I think, them doing this is just a reformation of we're on the right path.
All right. Anything else? Yeah.
That's all I have, Your Honor, unless there's any questions.
Any questions? Trash collection delayed one day due to Memorial Day. I've seen a lot of trash cans out that don't need to be, but I would mention that.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess the number one question I get is when is the trail going to open? And I've been saying July 1st. Is that still safe?
As safe as anything can be when we're dependent on the another agency to accomplish the goal.
Mhm.
So we'll stick with July for now.
Okay. Sounds good. Anything else for the good of the order this evening? If not, we'll adjourn at 6:36.